Good morning and welcome back to Namaste Lake Chapala. It is Monday and we are going to be dissolving that final link today. The final link in this chain of illusion that keeps us from experiencing our immortal selves, immortality itself. There is one final link. In fact, this is the linchpin. This is the link that holds all other links together. And it seems to be the most difficult and trickiest one to dissolve, to release, to let go of. And yet what we'll find is, as we are just willing to consider the possibilities that we're going to hear today, that it dissolves on its own. I need to do nothing. There's nothing I need to do to make this happen. I just need to allow. And so we're going to be looking at that final link because the experience and the expression of our immortal self is the only thing that is important, I guess you could say. Important doesn't even feel like the right word. Maybe essential. It's the only thing that's essential for us to experience our timelessness, which is what immortality is. So I just gave you a hint about what that final link is when I said the word timelessness. Because, of course, that final link is time. Time itself. The illusion of time, the way that we cling to time, the way that we plan things as if time matters and is so important. But today we're going to look at this. And in looking at it, we're going to finally be able to see it for what it really is. Not in a way that controls or condoles, but a way that allows this mystery to be revealed, which is no mystery at all. And so I'm going to dive right in. We're going to be looking once again at this beautiful book, Journey Beyond Words. I just opened it up this morning, and as I often do, just immediately come to the exact right paragraph or sentence, and that certainly was true today. So here we go. Let's explore this final linchpin, this final link in this chain. So it says, that which we perceive as time, that which we value as time, is just another form of form itself. It's just another form of a form. As you have created the physical world, which is an illusion, as you have created your body, which is an illusion, and as you have created even your own thoughts, which yet too are also illusions, so have you likewise created time, which is also an illusion. So immediately we get right to the heart of the matter. All of these things which you think you are, all of these things which you think control you, determine you, are illusions. Anything outside of timelessness, because within your timeless expression, within your immortal being, there is only space and opportunity. There is only love and the loveliness of God, which you are the extension of. Anything else that we have claimed, the body, the thoughts, anything within time and space, it is nothing more than just another link in that chain that we wrap around ourselves to say, this is what I am, and anything that's not within this chain is what I am not. But as these chains begin to fall away, there's more space for us to look around and say, I am that. I am all of that. But that final link, the idea that time has any effect on me, this is the final journey that we have to go on. I'm going to read a little bit more. It says, think for a moment about your pain and about your fear. Essentially, all of your pain and all of your fear is because you value time. All of your pain, all of your fear is because you value time. What will happen to me tomorrow? If this continues, where am I going to be? Am I going to end up here or there or in this state or that state? All because I'm thinking that my present isness, and this is where we're going to ultimately go, the isness of my creative soul, that I somehow think it's imprisoned within the dependence on time. But once again, what is always. And there's no relationship, no boundary within this illusion of time that we've claimed. So once again, think for a moment about your pain, about your fear. Essentially, all your pain and all of your fear is because you value time. Ultimately, what you are doing is saying, I do not choose to value what I am experiencing in this moment. Let's hear that one more time. Ultimately, what we're saying is that I do not value what I am experiencing right now, in this moment. I rather will value that which I call a memory of the past, or more usually, that which I anticipate will be in the future. But I'm never here. I'm never right now. Essentially, all of the time when you bind or constrict yourself, it is because of some imagined fear of what your future will bring. So, this final link of the chain was forged in the fire of fear. And fear is the only impediment to you experiencing your immortality. Do you see that? It was literally forged in the fire of fear. What will happen if? Ultimately, what will happen if I'm fully present to this moment? And you may even, as you hear those words, begin to feel something inside you that begins to say, yeah, what would happen to me if I wasn't thinking about how I was going to eat tomorrow? If I wasn't thinking about how I'm going to pay the rent or the mortgage tomorrow? What will happen to me? Well, let me tell you what would happen. The you that you claim, that you think you are, would begin a very natural and beautiful process of dissolving. You would begin to feel that sense of self with a small s beginning to dissolve when you no longer are allowing yourself to be bound by that chain forged in the fire of fear. Once again, I'll say it many times, this is the only and the final constriction to your experiencing your immortality. It's all ultimately about fear and the chain that was forged in the fire of fear. Let me read a tiny bit more here. When I say to you, take no thought of tomorrow. And by the way, I want you to see if you feel any sense of constriction or fear come up, even when you hear these words. When I say to you, take no thought of tomorrow. Take no thought of the next hour. Take no thought of the next minute. Truly, most of you will feel a clutching within your heart. And what that clutching is your belief within yourself that if you took no thought for tomorrow or the next hour or the next moment, if you took no thought for that, if you took no thought beyond this moment, right now, you would surely die. Oh my goodness, now we get to the heart of the matter. If I'm not preoccupied with what I believe is happening or will happen or could happen in the future, what I'm really saying is if I don't stay preoccupied with this, I could die. And we live in a time, by the way, where that's right in front of us. If I don't do all the things that I'm told to do, I could die. Now, I'm not telling you don't wear a mask or anything like that. I'm just saying look at your thoughts around that. Look at your attachments around that. Your attachment ultimately to death. Certainly not to this moment. Ultimately, you can't even be attached to this moment because any attachment itself is still a response to that final link in that chain. It's about freedom. It's about existing within the isness of who you are and have always been, which is what we're going to hear now. I tell you, God did not create time. Just drink that in. God does not know of time. For what God wills is, and what God imagines is. And your existence as the Son of God, as the holy, perfect child of God, is. And your freedom is. And your health is. And your power over your own existence, yes, even that is right now in this moment. And when I say is, I obviously mean it is right now. All of it is right now. Your freedom, your immortality is right now. But any focus, any determination based upon fear of what was or what will be is what keeps you from experiencing that. And this is the only reason we're here, to experience this. So we've been talking about immortality for a while now. We already know that immortality has nothing to do with the body. You're never going to have an immortal body. It is true, however, that when you experience this grand isness, that your body will be a direct reflection of that. You will be able to experience perfect health, perfect harmony, even within this vehicle. You'll be here as long as you need to be here. But none of those things are the focus. None of those things are the goal. The immortality of the personality, God forbid. That's not what we're experiencing. What we're talking about here is the essential immortality that is always immortal, that has nothing to do with your thoughts, your opinions, your ideas, your attachments, which is happening right now. All we're really doing is whisking away the clouds that keep you from experiencing that right now. And so, after all these lessons, we come to a choice. Is it your will to experience this right now? Is that what you really want? We've been talking about desire, and that's what it comes down to. Is this what you really want, to experience your immortal self? Because if you can align that desire with the isness of that light within you, the heaven within you, you will and are experiencing immortality. The only thing that's blocking you is your thought about time, about yourself, all the attachments that you have claimed to hide from who you really are. But if you want it, if you desire only this one thing, and I know that each one of you is right there, each one of you is standing right there at the precipice of this experience, all I can say is dive in. Take that final step. Trust this. Trust everything you've heard. Trust everything you've learned. Because as you do, angels will reach out to greet you, to guard your step, to hold you in this eternal space. And the joy that you will experience will be so far beyond anything you can even begin to imagine. The timelessness of your soul is happening right now. Claim it. Say yes. So, now we're going to turn to Victoria Poppe. Good morning,
Good morning,
dear.
James. Good morning. Well, before you came on, I wrote down on a piece of paper, timeless. I don't know if you can see it, because it has to come to that, right? And it's really quite simple. So the simple application for me is timeless thinking. What does that mean, though? It means don't engage, drop it like a hot potato. Anything that is of time, full of conflict or fear or concern, because it isn't so. But we don't even have to go there. Just don't bother with it and let the light in us step forward and take care of whatever is to be done. The light in us is our own soul. It's our will united with our Father. And our awareness of it is our acceptance of letting it function through us. So if we want to claim something, we have to allow it full experience, our full welcome, by letting it, that light in us, go before us and fulfill everything that's given us to do. And all we have to do is stay out of the way by not engaging fear in all its varieties: conflict, fear, worry, hard work, whatever it is that is timely. Timeless thinking is thinking from our soul. Timeless thinking is resting in the love of God. Timeless thinking is celebrating the love of God and welcoming it and letting it flow through us and watching with wonder and joy and welcome where it takes us, what we behold, who is in front of us. Timeless thinking, simply put, is judgment. Timeless thinking is a state of being in love. I think that's how I would sum it up for me.
Oh, you hit it right on the button there at the very end. Timeless. Time is judgment. And timelessness must then be the release of all judgment. If I'm willing to judge not and simply be fully present with whatever is right now, then I'm timeless. But the moment I say, judgment is saying it has to be like this. I want it so. As opposed to saying, nothing really matters. Anyone can see. Nothing really matters to me. This is the experience. And once again, it is in the releasing of all that judgment. My judgment is the chain itself. And when I let go of that chain, everything else drops. Any final words, Vicki?
No, but we have to do it. We really have to live it. Like I told Teddy, we have the roof that fell in and the ceiling and everything, and it's raining, snowing, and pouring. And I said, gee, maybe we should have had someone cover it or something. But nobody seemed to come to cover it. So I said, well, I guess we're not supposed to, Teddy, because nobody came to cover anything or mentioned it. So it was such a nice feeling of knowing it must be just right. And then this morning, a bunch of people called. They're all coming tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. But I couldn't have arranged it. And why worry about it? And so I didn't waste any time trying to sort it out. And that's, I think, for me, a great example of how to deal with everything. Just don't have it on our minds. Have love on our minds. Have welcome on our minds. That's it. Judgment is dividing and trying to conquer. And loving is welcoming and allowing and playing. So,
yes, indeed.
Thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Vicki. I love when we get back to the roof caving in. That
Yeah.
makes me smile. Teddy, would you like to share anything around this final link of the chain?
Well, two things came up when Vicki was speaking and when you were speaking. You know, this seems to be important and understanding for me. In order to release the judgments that you have to own them as your own judgments. You have to take the power of your mind back. And the only way you do that is by admitting that you're doing it to yourself. So if you're not experiencing, reality, if you're not experiencing what you are, if you're not having an experience of what you are in reality, and now the honest admission that you do not want it is a prerequisite to the honest desire for it to be true. Like you need to own your thinking as yours. Just recognize that you can actually drop it because it is yours. It's not imposed upon you. And that to me is a prerequisite to the ability to have the experience. If I'm stuck someplace, I got myself stuck. Now, through the power of my mind, I can unstick myself because I'm not a victim of the world I see. The world I see is a projection of my own mind. And I've decided to make it my reality when in fact it's not. And the decision to take back your power through the admission of the fact that you're doing it to yourself in whatever way it seems to be at the moment is a necessary prerequisite for the ability to drop it. Because then it's your idea.
6 words. I have done this but to myself. Those are the most important 6 words we could hear and accept in this release from time into the state of timelessness. I have done this but to myself, not in some guilty fashion, not as a way of increasing the gravitational pull of guilt, but in a way that inspires freedom. If I've done, as Teddy just said, if I have done this to myself, then I can undo it myself. Well, not within the concept of self, of course, because the concept of self, my identity, is really the whole chain. My perception of me, when the reality is there is no me. There is no identity. There is only the wholeness and the completion of what is. But the acceptance that I have done this to myself, and now in the freedom of that recognition, I can allow it to be undone. That's why this is the final chain, the final link. If we could just allow that link to dissolve, the world and everything that I've put in here to block me from the awareness of love fades, and I realize that in truth, I never really left heaven at all.